Welcome, y'all. JD the Jungle Dude here. Today, I'm going to be talking about the history of the Bib Overalls, an American creation. Yes. Actually, Bib Overalls are rarely new. They're just a little over 100 years old. Now, I thought they'd been around in America forever. Overalls were mentioned in literature as far back as 1776, and that's probably where I got that idea from, but it's wrong. These came from actual successes and mistakes, and I'll get into that. Right now, I want to talk about the term dungarees, which are used for both bib overalls and jeans today. And that's not American. That originated in the colonization of India by the British. And what they would do is they would get sturdy cloth called dongree from local villages to make pants for their workmen. Okay. Now, you fast forward to 1871, and you have blue jeans being made by Levi Strauss. The original blue jeans were high-waisted overalls, actually. Where the bib ends on here is about where the waist began, and you needed galluses or suspenders to hold them up. Now, the whole concept of denim blue jeans came from a classic and epic fail. Mr. Strauss believed that he could actually attach sails and riggings to covered wagons. No lie. He bought a whole bunch of cloth known as denim from the area of France where it was produced originally, and it got Anglicanized to denim, which we all wear today. And he literally thought that he could put sails and rigging and use wind power to guide the covered wagons, the Conestoga, and the prairie schooner across the prairies, and thus give the beasts of burden, horses, mules, oxen, a rest. However, even though it looked good on paper and it sounded good in concept, dirt, rocks, and mud are a lot less forgiving on wood than water and waves are, and so it failed. However, from this failure, Mr. Strauss snatched success, and that was he took the actual denim cloth and used it to make sturdy pants for the workmen. Now, he advertised it as never rips, never tears, which that's a lie, and that's marketing, and quite frankly, I'm not sure that he's far wrong. It rips and tears less than the actual sailcloth and linen pants that the workmen were wearing. Now, when you're working construction like roofing houses and putting siding on clapboard houses, you're actually rubbing against a whole lot of rough material, and yes, it rubs holes in your clothes. Now, originally, there were no pockets and there were no bibs. These came about a little later. The bib actually came about around 1893, and this was when a couple of workers in Mr. Strauss's factory decided to add the bib and the shoulder straps for a workman's garment that needed no belt or suspenders to hold it up. This was a very big selling point, because now you didn't have multiple belt buckles if you wore a tool belt rubbing against your stomach and thus causing boils, abscesses, and sores, because quite frankly, they didn't bathe as much as we do nowadays. And they didn't wash their clothes as much either, okay? So that became a big selling point. Now we fast forward to 1911, where Harry David Lee of the Lee Jeans Company decides, I'm going to make bib overalls with pockets in the pants and a pocket in the bib. That way, you don't have to wear anything underneath them. And lo and behold, it was successful. So successful that in 1921, the Lee Jeans Company was the first company awarded a patent for mass producing bib overalls. Now, mind you, the Levi Strauss Company and so many others, like Oshkosh out of Wisconsin, were already making bib overalls and had been since 1895. But nobody had applied for a patent. And then in 1927, they took the buttons off the top and they made fasteners to go in rather than buttons, which would sometimes tear off. They would pop off because, well, buttons are not as sturdy as actual um, cargo button straps. And so basically they moved on with that and it's become the American icon we have today. Now, all along the way, bib overalls could be made of any material. Usually corduroy and denim were the two big ones. Now, in the early 1900s up through the 1930s, this was the number one work cloth, work clothing to sell. So yeah, it's the number one piece of work clothing. And basically they were color coded. The white stripes were for railroad workers. The white denims were for painters, whitewashers, and even shipwrights. And the blue denims were for farmers and every other workaday person that did manual labor, like loggers, dock workers, warehousemen. And in 1920, bib overalls became a fashion statement. I'm not joking. Okay, it's right. Like I said, they could be made out of different materials, and you had bib overall clubs cropping up all over America in protest of the high price of clothing that was being produced. And that bled over into the modern day fashion world, where you had people make bib overalls out of satin, velvet, as fashion statements. And of course, the corduroys and denims, which were generally the mainstays of the bib overall market. The bib overall market was always, from 1911 on, booming. And I still find them comfortable. I find them sturdy. And quite frankly, I like them. They've become an American icon for a reason because so many working, everyday, common people wore them. Anyway, I hope this has been informative and entertaining. Y'all come back wishing y'all peace and peace of mind.